So, I've been speedrunning Cuphead for a while now, and one of the most common types of comments I get on my videos are accusations of some sort that I'm cheating my runs. Very often this stems from confusion surrounding the fact that my timer suddenly jumps to a lower time at the end of my boss fights. Unless you're this guy, who thinks that parrying too fast is hacking. But back onto the topic of the timer, that's just how Cuphead and the AutoSplitter and LiveSplit work. When I'm speedrunning, I use LiveSplit as a timer, and I have the AutoSplitter for Cuphead 10 on, set to split on the enter level and end level events. The AutoSplitter automatically starts the timer when the boss fight starts, and ends when the boss fight ends. When it's set up like this, it will display the real time throughout the fight, and switch to the in-game time on knockout. The, quote, real time is exactly what it sounds like, it's the real life amount of time that has elapsed. The, quote, in-game time, on the other hand, is the amount of time that has passed according to the game's internal timer. This in-game time is the time that is rounded down and then displayed on the final scorecard. Additionally, this in-game time is what is used to verify the individual level runs on speedrun.com. The timer is optional, we're only required to show the time on the scorecard, but including the timer can be helpful for other speedrunners. There are a couple of reasons why the real time and the in-game time can be different in these individual levels according to LiveSplit's AutoSplitter. Firstly, there is an issue with the AutoSplitter and how it starts and stops the timer due to the queue that it goes off of being inconsistent. This can often result in the real time being somewhere between 0.01 and 0.05 off from the in-game time. This isn't really an issue, however, since, as I mentioned previously, the level speedruns are moderated and verified by the in-game time, which is always accurate in LiveSplit. It doesn't actually matter that it's accurate since the time is displayed on the scorecard anyway, but it is accurate in LiveSplit. Secondly, certain actions, like parrying either a parryable object or an enemy with Whetstone Charm, and using super arts or plain nukes pause the in-game timer. For example, each parry pauses the in-game timer for about 1/6 of a second. This second reason is the biggest contributing factor to the difference between the in-game time and the real time when timing Cuphead level speedruns, because Whetstone strats are so prevalent. It's something you can observe for yourself too, but to save you the effort, I'll show you 2 runs now, one with parries and one without parries or supers. So to start off with, I'll show you my loadout and select Whetstone just because I'll be parrying the bosses for this run. Next, I'll set up the splits on LiveSplit. To start with, I need to select the correct game, so I type Cuphead into game name and select it in the drop down. Next, you'll see that the AutoSplitter information loads, so we'll reactivate it just to make sure it's working and set up 2 splits, one for the enter level IL event and one for end level IL event. That should start and stop the timer when we enter and finish a boss fight. Next, I'll show you that the timer is going to be set to compare against game time, not real time. But we'll also go change the settings on the timer itself so that it displays the current timing method so I can switch between the two later on and show you the difference. Now let's get into the boss fight itself. So I get a lot of accusations that I cheat my speedruns, and they're all false. I just put in a lot of work to get the runs I get. But there's been no better reason to think I'm a cheater than the fact that this run here is so horrendously bad. There we go, the fight has ended, and now you can see that the in-game time is 24.54, but if I switch to real time, you'll see it's 25.77. I'll switch between them a couple more times just so you can compare, but you can see it's basically 1.2 seconds off, which is quite a big difference. But now, as the results screen loads, you'll see that it displays 24 seconds, which is in line with what we expect. That's the in-game time. Next, we'll go into a run without the Whetstone Charm, so for this one I won't be doing any parries.
Here's a real high-class bout, and begin!
Weirdly enough, this is the that has ever gone. But you can see the in-game time is 28.14, and if I switch to real time, it's actually 28.13, so it's 0.01 seconds less than the in-game time, which is interesting. This is a sign that the cue that the AutoSplitter uses to start and stop the split are slightly off, but the in-game time will always be accurate. It doesn't mean much here, but you can see that 28 seconds there is in line with what the game time is, and is therefore what we expect. Now, of course, I understand that there are people out there who just want to get a reaction from the speedrunner, and while that is perhaps one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard of, it is completely within their right to look like a dumbass. But for everyone else, I hope that this video has helped you understand a little bit more about how LiveSplit and the Cuphead AutoSplitter are used for individual level speedruns. Of course, there are plenty more things that could be discussed about these tools, but I won't go into that here. There are plenty of resources available on the Speedrun community website and the Discord if you're interested. I wanted to end the video with a message to the people that feel inclined to accuse me or other speedrunners of cheating because of the timer. I really don't care that you think I'm cheating. I understand why, the timer looks super dodgy. But for the love of God, can you just stop for half a second and think, why would I cheat by badly splicing a timer that was completely optional in the first place? It just doesn't make sense. Nothing upsets me more than just how absolutely little sense these accusations make, because that would be the worst way to fake a speedrun. Regardless, the game can be weird, the timer can be weird, I understand why you might be tempted to think that it's fake, but please feel free to just take a minute and ask about these things. It might just be possible that it's simply something you don't know about. Thank you for watching, have a nice day.